हेलो एंड वेलकम टू बियॉन्ड द बाउंड्री टीओ स्पोर्ट्स एक बार फिर से आपका स्वागत करता है और वेल इट्स नॉट द काइंड ऑफ न्यूज़ दैट वी वुड हैव लाइक टू डिस्कस आई मीन जब जसप्रीत बुमराह ने वो 5 विकेट्स लिए देयर वाज अ चांस दैट इंडिया माइट कम बैक इन द सीरीज एंड इवन विन द टेस्ट मैच वो होप एक बन जाती है ऊपर से आप देखिए 340 चेस कर रहे थे ठीक है इट वाज टफ 340 ऑन द लास्ट डे इट्स वेरी वेरी टफ टू चेस दैट डाउन इफ यू डोंट गेट अ गुड स्टार्ट उम्मीद होती है एक इंडियन फैंस जो हैं वो हमेशा उम्मीद पे कायम रहते हैं आज आप देखेंगे एमसीजी पे भी कितने लोग आए थे सो देयर वाज ऑप्टिमिज्म देयर वाज होप जो होप नहीं थी वो शायद ये थी कि हम मैच हार जाएंगे यू एक्सपेक्टेड कि जहां पे ऑस्ट्रेलिया का लोअर ऑर्डर इतनी बैटिंग कर रहा है वहां पे हमारे बल्लेबाज कुछ करेंगे जीत या हार की बात नहीं है ये एक्सपेक्टेड था कि कोलैप्स शायद ना हो जिस तरीके से हुआ है तो हम चर्चा करेंगे उस बारे में ऑस्ट्रेलिया हैज टेकन अ 2-1 लीड इन द बॉर्डर गावस्कर ट्रॉफी मेरे साथ एक पूरा पैनल है मैं हूं चेतन नरूला ब्रिंगिंग यू द एनालिसिस ऑफ दिस 4 टेस्ट मैच we have with us K. Srinivas Rao, Group Sports Editor, Times of India, Dopayan Datta, and Nitin Nayak. We also have, let me check, yes, Pankaj Athavale, जो आज पैनलिस्ट के अवतार में हमारे साथ जुड़े हैं रंग बिरंगे कुर्ते के साथ that's the only colorful thing about the day Pankaj only colorful thing about the day given the result but let's start with thoughts on the result there's a lot to talk about um, yeah Srini let's start off with you like I said win maybe not but defeat certainly not that's the theme I want to start off with uh, you can't bat out 3 sessions on that pitch.
Uh, well, I mean, see, okay, you couldn't have
Yeah,
started the
I can
innings.
see how you're at a loss of words. Everybody's at a loss of words. Go ahead.
So, see, listen, you couldn't have started the innings thinking that we are going to draw this. Okay, first of
Yeah.
all, that theory wouldn't have applied. That 3 sessions में खेलूंगा और draw कर दूंगा match. So you would have had to start with the idea that you're going to chase this, and then somewhere down the line, if you see that probably conditions are different, maybe it's not going to be so easy. Maybe you bat the first session off, and then you take a call. From the second session onwards, how you're going to approach this, etc., etc. Remember that by the time kind of things were coming to the business end of the test match, uh, India had already batted 79 overs, right? So we were almost there. So the whole thing boils down to number 2, number 3, and number 4 in the batting order. It's as
Yeah.
simple. If you had to see, this wouldn't have been anything mediocre. Even if India managed to save this test match with a draw, forget winning it, it would have been a Herculean task. Now, are you saying that time and time again, this team is going to keep on pulling off such Herculean tasks without the so-called Herculeses of this team actually coming to the table? I don't think that's asking for too much. So all of
Yeah.
us probably, I think, and those who are watching the show, I think everybody understands what is wrong. Today, I think is the time to kind of speak about it. That's about it.
Yes, absolutely. And we are going to speak about it. We are not going to hold back here on Beyond the Boundary. मैं चाहता हूँ कि हमारे जो opinions हैं वो सामने आए because I think it's enough. It's enough. It's time now to get it out in the open. Dopayan and Nitin and Pankaj, let's get your opinions in as well to start off. We are getting a lot of comments. Just please hold on. Let us have the starting point today. Uh, you know, आप दो बैटर शॉट खेल रहे थे आज दोपायन I think let's be honest about it. We were playing two batters short, and then you have Rishabh Pant who first innings chalo chodo second innings again. I mean, your thoughts. Get started.
Yes. You are absolutely right. We are in the top of the order. We are playing with two walking wickets of the two most senior players who should be doing the bulk of the runs. That is A. And B, I have been one of the staunchest backers of Rishabh Pant. But the shot that he played today, like he batted one session, the two of them batted out one session, easy pitch. They are Australia trying to just push through their overs so that they do not miss the over rate point. Even Australia had designed to a draw, at that point there was no need for runs, and he plays that shot. Like, I have seen people getting dropped for reckless shots. Long ago, Kapil Dev was once dropped from a test match in 1985 in Calcutta for playing a bad shot in Bombay. So I think to put a point through to Rishabh Pant, he should be dropped from the next test match. Like, I have not
Yeah,
seen a
yeah, I
more
mean,
reckless shot than that in a very long time.
I agree with your opinion. Absolutely agree with your opinion. We'll come to okay. Let's take Nitin as well. Nitin, do you agree with what the pioneer said, and also your first thoughts? Rohit Sharma on Rishabh Pant shot selection. First of all, I'm not sure if Rohit Sharma, the batter, can speak on anybody else's form, but यहाँ पे ले लेते हैं because he's the skipper. He needs to understand what is required of himself more than any of us telling him. It frustrates everyone. The success, the failure. There needs to be a balance about it. Nitin, your thoughts? Uh, Nitin, just once again, you're on mute. Please, yeah, you're unmuted. You go
Yeah.
ahead.
Firstly, I think that's a little rich coming from the skipper and someone who's averaging 6 in the series, irrespective of how irresponsible or how reckless that shot was. I mean, somebody
Yeah.
who's averaging 10 in this season and 6 in this series has no business commenting on anybody shouting at his fielder, flinging his hands after a catch is dropped. I'm sorry, man. That's not the way that Indian captains have. I mean, you have to be worthy of your place in the side, which I don't think the Indian skipper is at the moment.
Yeah.
And same has to be said about Virat Kohli. I mean, I don't know what made Ravi
Yeah.
Shastri say that he can play for another 5 years. I'm sorry, man. I don't see that happening.
Actually,
I
he
mean,
said 3 years, but even three. No, no, no. He said 3 years, but even 3 years is too long at this point in time.
yeah. I mean, I don't see that. I mean, and frankly speaking, I'm now worrying even whether they should make the cut for the Champions Trophy, because ऐसा तो नहीं होगा ना कि you just change your clothes and suddenly your form will come back. I mean, I really don't know how that's going to. The way they both are playing, it doesn't seem as if they are very confident at all. And
Different
and
formats.
uh,
Different
and
formats. But yeah, okay.
yeah, and Rishabh Pant, Dwaipayan said 1985 Bombay. I think it was 1984 at the Kotla.
It's Kotla, sure, Kotla,
And
not Bombay.
and Eden Gardens Test, they were dropped.
Yeah.
Kapil was dropped, and that's when you had that
Yes.
famous poster that no Kapil, no Test, and Gavaskar's wife was abused, and he then vowed that he'll never play another Test at Eden Gardens. And I think Sandeep Patil also was dropped for playing a poor shot in that Test, and
Yes.
that happened to be Sandeep Patil's last Test. He never again played for India after that Test
Okay.
match. Which
Okay.
so I think the similar example has to be set. I think it's gone on far too long, saying that he plays his natural game and his attacking instincts have to be back.
Okay. Pankaj, your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think Chetan, I agree with all of them, and I think it was an absorbing test match. Let's be very happy about it that the match lasted 5 days. It went down the wire, and that is what test match cricket is all about. Till the
Yeah.
tea time, we thought that it was if you were cruising towards a draw, and then Mr. Rishabh Pant. But I think Rishabh Pant was very nicely seduced into that particular shot. Try to understand the opponents are thinking, they know what you're doing, and they introduce a Travis Head, and you fall for that particular bait. Which was, and I felt Rishabh Pant played really very well for that session, the middle session, with the kind of partnership that he had. But brilliant. But ultimately, both the teams played extremely well on day 5. 340. See, frankly speaking, with this kind of a batting lineup, I was sure we are not going to kind of make it. Draw. Chalo, theek hai. And I think what we all need to understand that when a company has huge liabilities, we have two in the team. That company is not going to make profits. It's always going to be in debt. So that's the biggest problem that we have. And I was expecting Virat to also announce his test retirement after Sydney. But I don't know what's happening. But full marks to both the teams. See, India couldn't keep up. They made a few more mistakes than Australia. And it was a fantastic test match. No doubt about it.
Okay, fantastic test match. That's what Pankaj says. Sportsman says immense respect for Cummins. He led his team in all facets of the game, batting, bowling, captaincy, true leader and captain. I think he's one of the greats, one of the legends of Australian cricket. Yes, Australian cricket has been blessed by many legends. I think Pat Cummins is in the top 3 or top 5 of all-time Australian legends. Okay, big props to Australia for winning this test match. हो गया, अब उसकी तारीफ नहीं चाहिए आगे. Let's talk about what is the crux of the matter here. The crux of the matter here, and let's come to this. Let's get Sahil Malhotra's story up. This is the biggest talking point for me from today's game. This is what Sahil Malhotra, our correspondent for Times of India, writes from MCG. There are murmurs of conversation with BCCI top brass and selectors over retirement. It's understood that Rohit has already made up his mind. When and where the announcement happens is anybody's guess. It's highly unlikely that the Indian captain will continue after the BGT. And this is talking about Test cricket. Rohit would undoubtedly like to convince selectors to allow him to stay for the World Test Championship final should India pull off a miracle and make it there. However, if they don't, Sydney is destined to be Rohit's last dance. Look, let's be very honest about this. इस सीरीज में 6.2 का एवरेज है. ओके, आप 30 रन नहीं बना पाए हो. आज आपने 40 बॉल खेला, वो सबसे हाईएस्ट है. और आज उस पिच पे जो एकदम से बिनाइन हो गया था, you have scored 150 this season. This is all very fine to say. Now we have to start segregating. Srini, it's not just about a call that Rohit Sharma can take. It is not just his call anymore. A captain should be the first pick on the 11. First of all, he doesn't deserve to be in the 11. I am saying this. I will obviously take your opinion. I am saying this. Rohit Sharma doesn't deserve to be in the playing 11. How can he pick himself as a batter? Can Rohit Sharma, the captain, pick Rohit Sharma, the batter? I was surprised nobody asked him this in the media conference, in the press conference today. 6.2 ka average. The other part of my question is, should this decision be allowed to Rohit Sharma? ठीक है, he wants to retire after Sydney. That's all very fine. But should he be playing in Sydney? Srini, let's start with you and then Dwapayan.
That's exactly what I kind of tweeted, sometime in the afternoon. I said it's very clear that Rohit is not going to be part of the Indian team after the Sydney Test match, which is absolutely fine, which is absolutely clear. The question is that should Rohit be heading to Sydney in the first place? You're right. You're right that first of all, it's not his call whether to go to Sydney or not. Second, he doesn't deserve to be in the 11 based on what the team combination was before Rohit arrived here. I mean, this is all, I think, more or less something that we've already spoken about. That's not the question here. The question here is, because I like to look at Indian cricket from all standpoints. See, a lot of people follow cricket for what they see happening on the field. As much as Indian cricket is it's something about what happens on the field. There is a back end to it. There is a lot that happens behind the scenes also. And as someone who tracks it very regularly, I can see that this machinery, this current Indian cricket machinery, is made up of individuals right now who take a lot of pride in having a mind of their own. Okay. Now, whether it's BCCI and people who run Indian cricket, right? Or whether it's a chief selector like Ajit Agarkar, or whether it's a newly appointed coach in Gautam Gambhir. All these, Gautam is a man who takes a lot of pride in speaking his mind. You, me, Dwarpan, Nitin, Pankaj, all of us who follow Indian cricket, we all understand what kind of a personality Gautam is. We a lot may or may not understand what is Ajit doing behind the scenes right now. But I can tell you with some amount of confidence, Ajit has put his foot down on a lot of occasions, on a lot of things in Indian cricket over the last 6 months. Some of the major decisions that you've seen, in terms of appointment of captains, in terms of appointments of coaching staff, support staff, in terms of who's supposed to be played in which format and who's supposed to be dropped and who doesn't find a place, and literally conditions being put that if you don't play this, you are not going to get this. A lot of those filters have been put in place after Ajit came on board as the chief selector. By Ajit, I mean Ajit Agarkar, after he came on board as the chief selector, right? And Gautam, as we all know, Gautam is a guy who wouldn't have taken a 3-year job, a 3.5-year job with the Indian cricket team without actually telling BCCI, this is how I want to head over the next 3 years. You know that he has a very strong mind of his own and he doesn't, kind of stay back when it comes to speaking his mind. With these kind of people at the helm, if you're telling me that there is nobody here in a position to take a decision which is so obvious in front of us, I refuse to believe it. So what exactly is stopping? What exactly is the reason that we are not seeing these decisions being taken or not seeing these brave calls being taken? I'll tell you, nobody wants to bell the cat. the bell, the proverbial cat. Nobody wants to
Oh,
be
okay,
the
okay.
bad guy out here taking these uncomfortable calls. Everybody is only hoping that, you know what, just let another test match go. The guy will go out on his own
Okay,
and things will be fine.
okay. That's fine. That's all very fine. That's all very fine. लेकिन एक
Amit,
बात बता दें हम यहाँ पे एक बात हम बता दें यहाँ पे कि अगर आप 2-2 सीरीज ड्रॉ करते हो, there is still a chance to make the WTC final. But if you go to SCG with Rohit Sharma, then you are a batter shot already. और जहां तक आप बात कर रहे हैं, let's also be very clear on this show today, and I think Srini and I have had this conversation in private. Ajit Agarkar, the selector, did not want Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma for the T20 World Cup. He did not want them. After the ODI World Cup, he was pressurized into picking them back in the T20 format. वो अलग बात है कि they won the World Cup और वो कैसे जीते वो भी हमने देखा है. But Ajit Agarkar wanted to take those strong decisions. He could not take those strong decisions. Are you telling me he might want to take that strong decision again right now and say कि boss एक टेस्ट मैच के बाद अपने आप हो जाएगा तो रहने दो?
well, it was a popular BCCI fell for the popular sentiment. That is what is happening in Indian cricket, right? You're just going for the popular sentiment. T20 is a thing of the past and it's already happened. We don't need to revisit it. But the point is, BCCI went by the popular sentiment. You know what? We got lucky and we won that final against South Africa, but otherwise we all know where that game was going and
Yeah,
how we
yeah,
actually performed in that World Cup.
yeah,
So let's not kind of revisit
yeah.
things which
Okay.
are again going to be very uncomfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take some comments before we get to Dopayan and Nitin on this. Nimish says you can't be averaging 11 and 15, have one more run than number of wickets Bumrah has, still be captain and open also, and this and that. Turning point was Pant shot, says Kiran Kumar. Uh, Let me see. Kuldeep says turning point of the series was when Rohit decided to join the team. I mean, come on. There was clearly a deflection. We'll talk about that later. Sahil wrote in his report. Priyanshu says he's set to retire after Sydney. More or less, yes. Do you feel Mitchell had too much pressure today? We'll speak about that as well. Uh, okay. Priyanshu says Rohit and Virat are done and dusted, but even without them, match was an easy draw at 120 for 3. We bottled a draw. We definitely bottled a draw. Babayan, let's start with Rohit Sharma. What do you think? I mean, should he be playing in Sydney? Isn't it time for the skipper to say, "Ho gaya, boss. I've been so selfless. Let me be selfless once more and just walk away." I don't think this is his decision to make anymore. But he is captain. There is no doubt about it.
No, he should not be playing Sydney. He should not have played this test also, because Shubman Gill is not playing this test because of him. I was very unhappy with the answer that he gave when he was asked about Shubman Gill. He said that to accommodate another spinner, another all-rounder,
Yeah,
that's why Shubman Gill is missing
yeah,
out. That is all bullshit. Everyone knows that Shubman Gill is not playing this test match because Rohit Sharma has to play. It is very unfortunate that this is happening. And
mm,
Sydney, if he has to drop himself. He has to drop himself, or he has
yeah.
to be told, because there is one definite change in the 11 in Sydney, that is Shubman Gill for Rohit Sharma. Like it has to.
I'm laughing because when you said one definite change, because एक इनिंग पहले लग रहा था कि one definite change होगा कि मोहम्मद सिराज will be dropped, लेकिन अब तो लगता है कि वो भी ड्रॉप नहीं होगा. अब तो वो भी ड्रॉप नहीं होने वाला. They might play
मोहम्मद
him
सिराज
inside
तो
in
इस
Sydney.
टेस्ट में bowling थोड़ा it got better, slightly better. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. You know what? Uh, we'll go from Rohit Sharma. Pankaj has to leave. Before that, he wants to make a comment. He wants to take one comment in particular, and then we'll continue with this conversation. यहाँ पर एक comment आया था. Somebody said कि the decision, the edge, उस पे edge नहीं था. Pankaj, let's get your thoughts on that, and then we'll let you go. Let's go.
Yeah. So, Chairman, I think everyone is talking about that Jaiswal dismissal when he tried to pull at the DRS and this and that. Let me tell you
Yeah.
one thing, this whole DRS thing is a complete farce. It should not be there in cricket. As an engineer, as a technical person, I'm telling you, because we neither have any sensors in the bat, not allowed, not in the ball, neither in the pitch. Without the three sensors, you're trying to make some imaginary follow of the bat and this and that and that. If a sneakometer cannot catch the edge, I think the technology is useless in cricket. The basic problem with all of us is that there's always something. What happens, कि अगर हम कहीं जा रहे हैं तो फॉर वी हैव अ टिकट फॉर सॉरी वी हैव अ पास फॉर द रेलवे ट्रेन और द मेट्रो दैट वी वांट टू कैरी. सो व्हाट वी से, ओहो पास घूम जाएगा ना तो फिर हम एक टिकट ले लेते हैं. And then we say, oh, ticket घूम जाएगा ना तो हम कूपन ले लेते हैं. And this is what is happening in cricket. Just because you don't want to kind of trust the human being, the umpire out there, you are getting machine which is not giving you 100% answer. तो बेचारे umpire पर विश्वास रखो ना यार. And here in that case there was a deflection which was looking. If the sneakometer cannot catch, I think all of us know that there is something called as a benefit of doubt. Yeah. Normally the benefit of doubt goes to the batter if it is not conclusive. Now, since it was inconclusive for the batter, the benefit of doubt was given to the bowler. As simple as that. For me, technology is absolutely useless in cricket, and it should be done. And you know, what is this umpire's call? 50-50, this, that. It's a waste of time. Then again, all the captains have also started making the drama. They show that they're discussing 10-15 seconds and 3, 2, 1. Yes, do you take this? It's like a WWE kind of thing, guys.
Okay. Town hall meeting. I call it a town hall meeting. यहाँ पे धीरज मधु पूछ रहे हैं, is deflection alone a conclusive evidence? Yes, it is. Yes, it
Benefit
is.
of doubt, huh?
I just don't understand how there is so much debate about this. Jaiswal was out. अगर आप थर्ड अंपायर के पास जा रहे हो, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि वो सिर्फ स्निको और डीआरएस और बॉल ट्रैकिंग ही यूज कर सकता है. Boss, he can use visuals also. वो टीवी अंपायर है.
Yeah.
That's the reason he's called a TV umpire, right?
Yeah. Well,
so TV umpire. Yeah, Pankaj, go ahead.
Yeah. Last point. ये whole things are happening because it's happening against India. India has got so many results against the opponents where it was not conclusive. Everyone was very happy then. So I think technology, please, we don't need technology.
Yes, some commentators do take it off, do take it a little too far. Ricky Ponting saying कि अगर आपने edge किया है, आपको खुद ही walk कर देना चाहिए. Ricky Ponting, please don't talk about this. Ricky Ponting should be the last one to talk about this, and I was surprised कि Sunny Paji didn't say कि boss Ricky, you stop talking about deflections and edges. Srini, do you want to add something on the how is it a conclusive evidence? पूछ रहे हैं. Boss, it could have been a mirage. ठीक है. Okay.
अरे आप नहीं है क्या? Don't you have eyes?
One second. You know, this kind of comment, it's not acceptable over here. Okay? If you want to talk properly, then please do that. Earth Doteja. I can also, talk in this language, but we'll not. In terms of conclusive evidence, yes, visuals are conclusive evidence. They are. You don't understand that, maybe you should be watching cricket. Yeah.
Why are people forgetting that the television itself, a television replay is also technology?
Yeah, it is allowed. The whole controversy, it has been made into a controversy, an unnecessary controversy. And Rohit Sharma himself said, in all fairness, it looked like he touched it. Bhaiya, if it looked like he touched it, तो उस निको पे आया या नहीं आया? And Simon Toffel on Channel 7, please go and Google it. It's on YouTube, it's on X. Simon Toffel, one of the most respected umpires of all time, has broken down, and I think this is also needed in Indian broadcasting. This is also needed in Indian broadcasting where you have umpires speaking and good umpires, okay? Because everybody's creating a controversy out here for needlessly. Simon Toffel ने clearly बताया है कि you go with the visual, then you go with the snicko, then you go with the ball tracking, etc., depending on the kind of appeal. The visual is the first confirmation. And किसी ने मुझसे पूछा कि इतने सारे angles क्यों दिखाए हैं? Boss, one angle is enough. He can check as many angles as he wants. Gopal or Nitin, either of you would like to add to this?
Yes, this is a controversy, as you said, is being created just and mind it, the Indian team thankfully is not creating it. The only good thing that Rohit Sharma did in the entire test match was agree that in all fairness it did hit the bat. That's the only good thing that at least he was honest on that count. I was later listening to the Hindi commentary, and it was appalling the way legends of the sport were trying to say that it is an illusion, etc. Nonsense. It hit the bat, he got out, and it's fine. Yeah. When we lost in Mumbai, there was an attempt to create a controversy about Rishabh Pant dismissal when he was out. It was clear. Why is technology? The technology is there to eliminate the error, and that is being done. and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
And Arth Dudeja, I have taken your comment just because to tell you कि आप एक अच्छे तरीके से भी comment कर सकते हैं, just like you have done now. Okay, that's the only reason. There's no answering your comment today. Okay, let's move on. Pankaj, thank you so
Uh,
much for
uh,
joining us,
Chetan,
and we will look forward to you joining us again on the show tomorrow. And
Thank you,
after
thank
that,
you.
Srini, you want to say something? Thank you, Pankaj. Yeah, Srini.
Chetan, I was hearing Japan say, talk about, what he just said, and when it comes to tech, I think what is happening is,
Hmm.
uh, inadequate technology is in place, which we all, any which ways would agree,
Hmm.
and outside of that, what is happening is too much jargon has been applied, which
Yeah.
has resulted in too much of confusion.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
which is leading to a lot of how do I say, to a lot of narrative being formed around it,
Hmm.
while the actual point that needs to be debated,
Exactly.
which
Exactly.
exactly, which actually needs to be, which can be kept very simple, is
Yeah.
unnecessarily getting complicated. And to make this point, why I'm saying this is because I want to kind of say, share a small thing here. I
Go ahead.
opened this message in my inbox. I won't, obviously can't take names. But I was discussing umpire's call. Now, obviously, I have never liked the idea of umpire's call. Okay, so I was discussing the umpire's call with a big name in Indian cricket. First of all, I had in one of my YouTube interactions with Sachin Tendulkar on his 50th birthday. We had discussed the umpire's call. He had said something very simple, and Sachin being Sachin, he kept it as simple as that. He said, in umpire's call, why exactly am I going to the TV umpire? I'm going to the TV umpire because I am not convinced with the decision that the field umpire has given, right?
Hmm.
So why is the TV umpire sending me back to the field umpire? Because I've already come to you because I don't trust his decision, right? Then I asked the other person. There was another person, and I will read the text in verbatim. It used to be half the ball hitting the stump, remember? Now tech is better, so it is half the ball hitting the stump. Less than that, you aren't certain, so you cannot overturn the umpire because he could be right. To overturn, you have to be 100% certain, and that is only a predicted path, not the actual path. So when less than half is seen to be nudging the stump, you don't know if it is actually doing that. When more than half is hitting, you know for certain that it is. Are you serious? How exactly are
Yes.
you going
No,
to
no,
judge
no, no.
50% of the
So
ball? Are you
I'll
going to take
explain this.
50%?
Yeah.
So
If I
this is
can.
what is happening. This is what is happening. Simple
Yeah.
things are unnecessarily being complicated. Before going, when Pankaj said, what happened to the good old benefit of doubt? Of course,
Yeah.
not in Jaiswal's case, but in general.
Yeah. Okay. No, let me answer this. In terms of umpire's call, I actually like the umpire's call in its current avatar. पहले जो होता था, मुझे वो umpire's call नहीं पसंद था. Now I like it much better, or because umpire's call retains the human element in umpiring, and I think umpiring always brings that to the table. ठीक है, otherwise you're making it all about machinery and everything. So humans do tend to make mistakes sometime. For example, आप देखो सिराज का जो डिसमिसल हुआ था, ठीक है, सॉरी सिराज को आउट दिया था, नॉट आउट दिया था, आई डोंट रिमेंबर, आई थिंक नॉट आउट दिया था in the first innings. uh, uh, in the first innings when Nitish Reddy was at the other end, etc., etc., I think after the 100, uh, Siraj ko not out diya tha when the ball was actually seemed to be flying off the edge and hitting the ground at the same time. उसमें उन्होंने सिर्फ एक फ्रेम देखा and he moved on. He should have seen more frames. So there is an element of human error involved in this. But like I said earlier, we need to move on. ये पंकज के लिए था ये topic, तो he's gone now. The end of the topic is Yashasvi Jaiswal was out, and an unnecessary controversy has been created, so much so that the broadcaster India, unke panel pe commentator hai, I'm not going to take names, he said as soon as the match ended, hats off to India. I'm like, come on, are you serious? There are more important things to talk about, and you're saying hats off to India? Come on, yaar. Okay. There are more serious things to talk about, and let's talk about them. Okay. There's just so many comments. I've just lost track of so many comments. But let's go back to Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli. Uh, Somebody, Sanjeet says, put my question, please. Sanjeet, can you put your question again, please? I've lost track of. I'll just take this one. You've commentated on BCCI TV panel. Our commentators being told to comply and support India players. No, the production team is very, very different. It's a very, very professional production team all across the board in the BCCI, and nobody tells you what to say on air. In fact, or let's be honest, आपको खुद भी support करना चाहिए to Indian players. ऐसी बात नहीं है. Indian cricket has given you a lot. I'm talking about the cricketers and everybody, but there has to be a certain balance. But to answer your question, no, the answer is no. Okay, Sanjeev, please send your comment once again. Mayank says, what about Kohli ji, who has been flop for the past 5 years? What's this nonsense? Why shouldn't Kohli retire, sir? Speak fairly. Why different parameters for different individuals? 5 years versus 3 months. Okay. Okay. Look, let's not make this a Rohit versus Virat debate. Okay. First of all, and this is my opinion, and then I'll come to all three of you. We'll take Nitin first because he's been silent for a very long time. My view on this, Kohli versus Rohit, is there are different batters. First of all, Rohit is 38 years old, and I think Dopayan has said this many times on the show as well. The way he bats, आप actually देख सकते हो कि his reflexes are gone. The way he's timing the ball, it's gone. The footwork is perhaps a little slower, you know. That happens with batters when they become too old. That kind of a thing. Virat के साथ आप ये नहीं देख रहे हो. He's still timing the ball really well when he's not playing the cover drive, when he's not flirting outside the off stump. Virat needs to probably go and play domestic cricket because ये problem net में नहीं solve होगी. Nitin, let's get your thoughts on this. This is why the different parameter for Kohli and Rohit. However, Nitin, a lot of players have been dropped for far better numbers than what Virat Kohli is returning right now. Forget the Perth 100 because it was not that big a deal. We've discussed that on the show. The match was already done, more or less done in Perth. But the kind of returns that Virat Kohli has given, Ajinkya Rahane had better returns. Cheteshwar Pujara had better returns. Saurav Ganguly, when he was dropped as captain, had better returns than Virat Kohli in the last 4-5 years. Enough long rope. Nitin.
Yeah, Cheteshwar Pujara and Ajinkya Rahane sadly did not have the fallback of the white ball format, which Virat Kohli is playing, and which allows the players to kind of alternate between formats and stay in as they say, out of sight, out of mind. So here Virat Kohli, because he had a great 50 over World Cup, he had a good knock in the T20 World Cup final and a terrific IPL. So because he has a white ball format, he still is seemingly relevant. But I feel in Test cricket, I think it's time that he's also nudged on the shoulder and he's and talked into retirement. Really, I think this transition should have happened a year ago, probably when Dravid was still in charge. But I think now is the time to maybe really ask him, boss, how long do you want to play? And for him, maybe you can give him that option because he's been a legend of the game and probably one of India's top 4, top 5 batters ever. But I feel that he also needs to take a call on his future because I don't see him with this problem succeed in England with the Duke spot. I don't see him succeed in England.
Okay, we will talk about that. Srini and Dopayan, your thoughts on Virat Kohli and where he stands at the moment. Let's start with Srini and then Dopayan.
Okay, tell me. Let's say we don't play Virat Kohli at in Sydney. Who do we play at number 4?
In Sydney, who do we play at number 4? Yeah, okay. Why not Dhruv Jurel?
Okay, that's the only option on the basis of which you want to drop Virat Kohli.
Look, huh? Sorry.
That's the only option on the basis of which we are thinking let's do away with Virat Kohli. I'm not saying that he's indispensable. I'm not saying anything.
No,
I'm saying in the middle of the series. Once again, let me just complete this. In the middle of this series, we are discussing on one hand, we are discussing a captain who cannot be dropped. Number 1, because he's captain. 2, because he can't find a place in the 11. 3, because he came in and disturbed a settled opening order. Okay. 4, obviously the fact that he's in the poorest of form. Why exactly is Virat a discussion? If Virat is a discussion, Virat is a discussion after Sydney. After the Sydney test.
No, Virat is a discussion because he is not able. Yeah, boss.
No,
The bowlers don't
I'm
need
not.
to bowl out the stumps
I'm
to
not.
take your wicket.
No, I'm not saying that in
You got out
context of
6 times in the same manner.
why I'm saying Virat is not a discussion, because in the run up to the Sydney Test, you're not dismantling this structure altogether, right?
Okay.
What I'm saying
Okay.
is, right now the elephant in the room for me is the captain. There was a captain who had led us beautifully in Perth. I will give you an example. Today, somebody in Indian cricket sent me a text or based on my tweet and said, Srini, don't you think this is harsh? I said, okay, then why don't you do one thing? My answer to that person was very simple. Why don't you do one thing? Why don't you rest Jasprit Bumrah and let us complete this entire series with Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma? Give them their due. Why take the trouble of making Jasprit Bumrah go through all that nonsense of bowling his bloody backup, kind of bowling the way he's bowling without having any bit of respect to what the others are bringing to the table. You might as well drop Jasprit and say, listen, this series is about saying goodbye to some two senior cricketers. Let's stick to that. We'll think of you when we reach England. I don't think that needs to be the case. The captain Bumrah was very much in charge. Okay, Rohit came, but it should have been on the basis of something. It should have been on the basis of either form or your place in the squad or your batting form or some captaincy trick that you are bringing. Something on basis of what? In 2015, when MS Dhoni gave away the captaincy to Virat Kohli in the middle of the tournament, I asked Ravi Shastri this. I asked him, I said, what happened at that time? Why did MS give away the captaincy in the middle of the series? You know what Ravi said? Virat was like that hungry tiger in the dressing room. You could not have not given him. He had for all but this thing taken charge of that team, taken charge of that moment, and taken charge of the entire ecosystem, that Indian apparatus that was there in Australia at that time. He had taken charge, and there was no way that you could have not given him the leadership mantle. Here, the same thing was happening with Bumrah. You go back, watch the Perth Test match.
Yes,
The
which is
way in
why.
which he led the squad. Now, I understand Rohit is bringing something to the table. And see, I don't know. I find these Twitter trolls and YouTube trolls. I've known Rohit for almost 20 years now. There was a time when I used to work for another national newspaper, and he used to call us every week to understand कि uska selection hone wala hai kya ye hafta Indian team mein. From those days I've known Rohit. So I feel bad saying this, but at the same time, this is not about Rohit. This is about Indian cricket. Jasprit Bumrah's time had arrived. Rohit needed to take that break. With all due respect, he doesn't find a place in this playing 11 period. Now, comparison with Virat, I'll just complete this with one last line. One last line, I'll complete this. Comparison with Virat Kohli doesn't really make sense, because with Virat, as I said, the one question that you need to ask in mind is this about number 4?
No, Srini, look, I don't think we are doing any justice, because this is and Dopine, I want your opinion on this, because this is becoming nonsensical to the point where every time you have a conversation about Rohit Sharma, you have to talk about Virat. Every time you have a conversation about Virat, you have to talk about Rohit Sharma. Boss, we can talk about them as individual players, and let's do that. Rohit Sharma doesn't deserve a spot in the playing 11. That's confirmed. There is no doubt about it. But having said that, neither does Virat Kohli. Neither does Virat Kohli. उसके दो रीजन है. The numbers haven't been there for the last 3, 4, 5 years. जितना भी आपको कैलकुलेट करना है, जितने भी पैरामीटर्स लगाने हैं, Mayank has made our job easier. Look at that. In Sena tests alone since 2020, Rahane 26.5 dropped. Pujara, how many times was Pujara dropped? How many times KL Rahul has been left out? Shubman Gill has been left out at 34. 34 is not that great an average, let me be honest. But he's been dropped. Virat Kohli, 29. And yes, Virat Kohli is a great batter. One of the top 3 or 4 Indian batters of all time. There is no doubt about it. But यहां पे दूसरी चीज आती है कि आप 6 बार आउट हुए हो इस सीरीज में, 6 बार आप उसी तरीके से आउट हुए हो. There is an issue with your batting. It is not being solved in the nets. It is not being solved in the nets. Somebody needs to have a chat ki, boss, if you want to save your test career, you need to sort this out. And the only way you can sort this out is by playing domestic cricket.
Chetan,
So fine.
at this stage of his career, he cannot sort this. This is beyond
Okay.
repair because uh, the problem, and added to that off stump line problem, which another thing which is coming into his game is mental fatigue. The way that Yashasvi Jaiswal run out happened in the first innings,
Yeah. Yeah.
and immediately he getting out. It was a clear
Yes.
indication of how drained he was, like
Yes.
mentally drained. To concentrate for 2 hours, he's almost finished. It is so there are a lot of things which are not happening for him. He is no longer the same player. He cannot sort this out anymore. He will look good in small patches on good tracks when the ball is not doing too much, but on the basis of that, do not pick him. I think it is time. He was one of our he is our second best white ball player. Give him the Champions Trophy and ask him to go. That is what it
Okay.
should be.
Okay. Nitin, your thoughts? He cannot rectify this. Do you think that as well? Because I'll tell you one thing. Nets में क्या होता है? We have seen the video. आप कितने भी बॉलर को बोल लो कि आप ये बॉल कराओ, आप ये बॉल कराओ, आप ये बॉल कराओ. You know that ball is coming. When you're batting in the test match, you don't know. When you're batting in an actual match, you don't know when that ball is coming. Which is why I'm saying कि आप जाके first class खेलो दोबारा से. If you can sort it, maybe you have a second win. He's still only 36, 37, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You still might have a second win. You might have another couple of years, maybe. But unless and until you rectify that problem, you can't do anything. Which is why it is important to have this discussion about Virat as well. It has nothing to do with Rohit at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's time that we de-hyphenated Virat and Rohit both. I think
Yeah.
both have got serious issues with their game. Virat, I mean, Dwaipan made a fine point about mental fatigue. I saw indications of that today as well. After after that intense examination that Stark gave him, and also Cummins. And I think just 1 over before lunch, the last over before lunch, for him to play that shot. Uh, I mean, it shows nothing else but the inability to concentrate for a decent amount of time. Which and against an attack like Australia's, which has got relentless bowlers who will keep bowling it on a shoebox. Such mental errors will not go unpunished, and he has been shown up. Apart from that Perth 100 when there was absolutely nothing at stake, every time when there was heat on, he's succumbed, and same was the case today as well. So Champions Trophy, yes, that should be his swan song. I don't think we should carry him to England.
In fact, I'll be very honest about this. I had a chat with the former chief selector today, and he told me that he would not pick Virat Kohli for the Champions Trophy as well. On current form, he just doesn't make it to the Indian team, and he already said that Rohit Sharma shouldn't be there in this Test match. He was talking about the way Virat got out today. Uh, I mean, yeah, it's. Look at this image. It's just a horrifying story. I mean, this is not the memory of Virat Kohli that we want to remember from Australia, do we? um Srini, that's the point I'm trying to make here. We need to segregate Rohit and Virat. Let's just talk about Virat. There is an issue. ठीक है, मैं ये नहीं कह रहा हूं कि आप उसको सिडनी से पहले ड्रॉप करो, but there is an issue. There are alternatives. Yes, it will be too much to take those alternatives, but let's be honest, there is an issue, and this issue is not being sorted out in the middle, in the nets. क्यों? उसका एक और reason भी है. You look at the first innings. Uh, he spends a little bit of time at the crease, and Virat thinks, oh, you know what? I'm in a good touch. I'm in a good I'm looking good now. I'm feeling confidence now. Let me try and play a cover drive, and then he gets out. So that mental stubbornness, that will not go playing Test cricket, trying to iron it out in Test cricket. You have to go back to the domestic structure. You cannot iron it out in net practice as well. Somebody needs to have a serious conversation here. Srini, you're muted.
I'm totally on the same page as you, Chetan, that Virat Kohli's batting is an issue. I'm not saying that. All I said was earlier when I was talking about it, all I said was that before the Sydney Test gets over, Virat is that discussion doesn't make sense. But that said, yes, I totally agree with all the points that you're making. Number one, his batting is an issue. Number two, more importantly, that issue cannot be sorted while he's playing Test cricket. And by the way, he's got no other cricket to play, because the moment Test cricket is over, other than the Champions Trophy, which is India playing only 3 matches there, the major cricket that he's going to be playing is the IPL. And the basis of that
Which
whole
is a bigger problem. Yes. And yeah, go ahead. Please go ahead.
what's
Yeah.
it? Basis of the IPL. Now, does Virat have the time? Let's assume for a minute that India will make it to the WTC. Okay, the WTC final this year is at the Lords. I'm just saying, let's assume then, or India may or may not make it. All either scenario, does Virat Kohli have the time and space in the commitments that he has to take a couple of weeks aside for himself? He lives in London for all practical purposes. He lives in London. He lives in UK. There's only once in 2018 when Virat had made that effort to go and play county cricket. Okay, eventually it did not work out, but he wanted to spend a full season playing the English county. I think this was in the run up to the 2018 tour of England. Other than that, I have never really heard Virat making that time out to play any kind of domestic cricket. I have never heard.
Okay.
And given what has been troubling him, you are bang on. You're 100% right that he should actually take some time out for himself, go back to domestic cricket, whatever form of domestic cricket is available, play it, and then kind of resurrect. Having said that, I'll complete it with this one last line. Virat Kohli, people are thinking Champions Trophy should be his swan song, etc., etc. He will go to the Tour of England.
Okay, and okay, let's take Upendra Singh's comment here. He wants to play England tour, then you go play county cricket, make tons, justifying his place.
Yeah.
I won't retire him, drop him to hurt his self-respect. Make runs, come back. Youngsters deserve their wings. Okay, look, again, I agree with Upendra. I still think, Dopayan, that Virat has something to offer, uh, but not in this manner, not in this form. यहाँ पे एक और बात भी करते हैं, and let's take Nitin on this as well. Uh, you don't have much Ranji Trophy left. You only have the knockouts remaining. चैंपियंस ट्रॉफी से पहले आप इंग्लैंड सीरीज हैं उसमें ओडीआईज खेलोगे यू मिस दैट एंड मे बी is Delhi even in the quarters? I'm sorry, I've lost track of because there's so much cricket. Is there an opportunity there to even play? और IPL के बाद do you think county cricket he should go and maybe try his hand there? Because should the selectors say ki boss, if you don't score, we need you to play county cricket and we need you to play in the top tier of county cricket, not in the bottom tier. Play in the top tier of county cricket, get some runs. If you score runs, then we include you in the England series. Do you see this happening at all? Is there a chance? Because I don't know. Without that, James Anderson will be like, मैंने retirement क्यों लिया? Dopayan and Nitin.
He should, but I don't think he will. Like will he get the time? He plays the full IPL. After that, how many days of gap is there before the India series starts in England? I don't think there is enough time. Maybe at best 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 matches.
3 weeks if you don't qualify for the WTC final.
Yeah. We are guessing that India will. It's very unlikely that India will qualify.
Unlikely, but yeah, 3 weeks. Let's say 3 weeks. Yeah.
3 weeks. So 3 weeks you get what 2-3 games.
Which is the problem, right? Yeah.
But will that make a paradigm shift? I doubt. I really doubt. Like if you are playing in oval against a mediocre side on a flat wicket, I don't know how much it works. As far as I am concerned, I think Srini must have some inside information on the basis of which he is saying. But as far as I am concerned, the new WTC cycle is a fresh start, and for that we should start afresh. There is no place for Virat Kohli, and unfortunately, I have to say Rohit Sharma in that setup.
Okay. Sports fan says it's been 5 years since his slump. If he hasn't gone to domestic cricket till now, why would he go now? Nitin, fair comment, right? If he hasn't done it now, why would he do it now?
Yeah, I mean, this whole domestic cricket thing. When you're playing a series in India, maybe yes, because otherwise you can't prepare for a mid-stock by facing a Yash Dayal. So So that way, yeah, I mean, so that way, I don't really would have, would have figured out much what benefit he would have derived by playing domestic cricket in India before a series in Australia. But in terms of he has basically developed a lot of technical flaws, and which I think only a proper batting guru might be, if and someone who is humble enough to listen to. I don't know what his equations are, or what stature Abhishek Nair has in this team to kind of go up to Virat and tell him that, boss, this is where this is where you may be struggling. I do not know. I do not know Virat Kohli well enough to judge how humble he is or how humble he is not. But I feel that he needs someone like he did in 2014 with somebody of a stature like Sachin Tendulkar, where whom he consulted and
Ravi
he ironed
Shastri.
out those flaws.
Ravi Shastri
Yeah,
as well.
or Ravi Shastri as well. Somebody
Mm.
who he can trust, somebody who he considers as his mentor, as his batting guru, somebody who can maybe prick his ego a bit, and tell him that, boss, what you're doing is not working out.
Fair
You
comment.
better try
Absolutely fair
something
comment.
else.
Absolutely fair comment. Nimish का भी comment है यहाँ पे. You can still see the hunger, which is why I'm saying. And his ego and stubbornness is destroying his glorious Test cricket. Absolutely bang on there, Nimish. And you know the stubbornness and the ego is to know that there is a fault and not rectify it. Srini, I want you to answer this. Is there anybody who can do what Nitin just said? Anybody?
without breaking his ego.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anybody who can do that?
I really
Anybody from the cricketing ecosystem? Maybe
Ravi
I don't know.
Ravi.
may- Ravi
The
Shastri.
only
Okay,
guy he will listen to, the
is
only
Ravi.
guy who he will listen to is Ravi. The only guy who he has listened to in the past also is Ravi. Remember,
Yeah.
this is not the first time that technically Virat has struggled with his batting. Early on in his career, also he faced a struggle. So the guy who came to his help, or the guy who he went to ask help to, was Ravi Shastri. So
Okay.
if you're asking me, who will he listen to? Well, as I said, Ravi is the only guy. If Ravi can convince him to, to kind of take a break, and kind of for the sake of his own batting and for the sake of Indian cricket, kind of ask him to take a break and kind of go back to some kind of square one. I think if anybody can convince him, it is Ravi Shastri. Having said that, I also agree with Nitin on that point that he made. No, domestic cricket in India is not what he needs to do. He needs to kind of go away, cut himself off, go away, take a break from IPL if he can, but he won't, because he's taking
That's
over
not
the
possible.
captaincy at RCB.
That's not possible.
So he can't take. No, he's taking over as the captain as RCB again. So he can't take a break there. So he cannot go to England. He cannot leave IPL midway. He cannot go to England early. He cannot sign up with a county there, because obviously nobody is going to accept anybody coming just midway into the season. So he'll have to sign up at the start of the season. That's not happening sometime. So this is not working out in any way. And to cut a long story short, people are talking about, Ravi said 5 saal bacha hai. Somebody else is saying 3 saal bacha hai, etc., etc. I think Oval Test he will resign. That's as in
Retire.
resign, as in
Retire.
retire. Oval Test match. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. The whole show has been overtaken by this one conversation. Let's just have a final look at the scorecard and get final thoughts on that. Jasprit Bumrah, absolutely magnificent. 30 wickets for him. 30 wickets for him in the series. I mean, you expect a better return for 30 wickets in the series, Dopayan. What a bowler. Absolute star. He should be the captain. Like in 2014, we do have a stand-in captain ready, but yeah, and of course, it'll be great that he stays fit for the Sydney Test. There is a risk of over bowling, etc., etc. Dopayan, quickly on Jasprit Bumrah.
Yes, the saddest thing about this test match is Jasprit Bumrah telling Rohit Sharma on day 4 evening, boss मेरे से और हो नहीं रहा है.
Yeah,
That probably said the entire story. Okay, his body
one man.
has taken so much that he can't get the number 11 out anymore because his body is not giving. You are going to kill that bowler if you are going to keep on doing what he is doing. We have seen this thing happening, like, and they are really like he's a like I don't know, after Sachin Tendulkar, we haven't had a player of this quality. This like
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely,
yeah, it's magic,
absolutely.
and I hope we do not like
Mhm.
finish off this magic by over bowling him.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, I used to watch Sachin. I used to tell my mom कि सचिन की बैटिंग देखने दो, फिर मैं पढ़ाई करने बैठ जाऊंगा. It's the same with Jasprit Bumrah now. बुमराह की bowling देखने दो. मतलब मुझे अब नहीं पढ़ना है, and I don't have kids to make them sit and watch. But anybody out there, don't miss a ball that Jasprit Bumrah bowls. Let's move on. Let's get some. Let's take a look at the WTC table. Do we have the updated table, please? It's more or less done for India. There you go. It's more or less done for India. India. I mean, I have this. Let me just read this out. I have this from earlier today when I saw this. इसमें ये लिखा है कि अगर सीरीज ड्रॉ हो जाती है तब क्या होगा. Do we have the scenarios, please? Yeah. Okay. They must win the fifth test. Draw doesn't work, and then hope that Australia can't win any test in Sri Lanka. Yes, if India draws 2-2, Sri Lanka must defeat Australia. They must defeat Australia. It's a two-match series. It's at Galle, both test matches. So पहले आप सिडनी में जीतो and then you pray to Sri Lankan gods. Nitin, any chance for India? Do you think it's going to happen uh, at all? Your thoughts on how the WTC stands? Is India's good run in the WTC over now? You're muted. Can you please unmute first?
Yeah, it's over. I don't think we have any chance to qualify for the WTC, and that is how it should be, because if we qualify for WTC and
Hmm.
somehow these two guys get some runs in Sydney, and then again there will be pressure to include them for the WTC, and I think this is a great chance for India. A new year is starting after 2 days. It's a great chance for India to start afresh and build a new test team for the next cycle. I think this team needs urgent regeneration, and we need some fresh batting talent.
Hmm. Okay. Srini, last thought from the show to you. अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं रोहित की, हम बात कर रहे हैं विराट की, these are two two greats of the game, of course. And Nitin just said that we need to regenerate, we need to rebuild and this and that. But this young man, he is now our new batting stay. He's our new batting star. He's the most reliable batter in that Indian lineup now, isn't he? Big runs, big temperament. Yes, he chased some wide deliveries when he shouldn't have. Yes, he played that pull shot. But ठीक है यार, this is let's also not forget that he's not even 25 yet. ठीक है, time
Temperament.
आएगा. Temperament,
Temperament
exactly.
is the only
Big word for me, yeah, the big word for me. But your thoughts on Yashasvi Jaiswal? He is now India's batting mainstay. He's the
rush
India's
of
right.
blood. For me, Yashasvi is a great talent across formats. He's probably the next big thing in Indian cricket across formats. Okay.
Yeah.
He is everything. He's ticking all those boxes. Yeah, you use a very important word, temperament. For me, if there is one flaw I'm looking at in Yashasvi right now, it's the rush of blood. And we've seen it already. Like, he gets to his 50, 50, 60, 70, and suddenly it's like that electric current. Somebody just puts a socket and brings him alive. And he just, like, two, three, fours, and suddenly that whole between 70, 50, and 100, is where his game just kind of, he tries to elevate. And that's something he needs to be careful about. Probably pick a leaf again from the great man's book, SRT. Pick a leaf from there, like, patience. Learn, watch those innings and learn
Yeah.
what he did. And I think that's where things need to head. But that said, there's one guy who's giving me confidence in this Indian team batting lineup up the order. Of course, I've loved KL so far also. I'm like, from what he was doing and what he's done in Australia, I've liked KL, kind of. But Yashasvi, yes, the one talent that I'm looking forward to across the formats, as I said. The only thing he needs to keep in mind is the temperament levels. Uh, you know, just that momentary this thing of lack of concentration, momentary lack of concentration is what, you saw those dismissals. I think one of the dismissals that we talked about was that flick to Mitchell Stark, right? Which we were all like, there was nothing that the bowler had done. He just gifted his wicket and walked back, you know. And especially for the kind of form and touch that he is in. Somebody needs to sit down and have that chat with him. Listen, you have the world to conquer here. If you were to kind of kind of show a bit of patience and just stand your ground there. So these are
The
conversations that someone needs to have with him, and not Gambhir.
the Payan, I think there are a lot of chats that need to happen. अभी यशस्वी को अकेला छोड़ देते हैं. What do you say?
हाँ, यशस्वी को अभी अकेला छोड़ देना ही अच्छा है, because yes, as you said, he will be our like the star batter. I do not want to use the word fulcrum, because that fulcrum thing, I always feel that like for me Rahul Dravid was a fulcrum. For me Cheteshwar Pujara was a fulcrum. I see that fulcrum thing in KL Rahul, if it is possible. So I prefer Yashasvi Jaiswal with all his flair and quality, and playing the way he is and not overdoing it, just understanding the situation a little better and going on with his game. He's a great player. These 280s that he has scored, especially today, despite missing etc., he is hopefully our man. He is hopefully our man for a long while.
Okay, Nitin, one final comment. All format player, he should be opening in the Champions Trophy.
Yeah, I hope so. If the selectors don't look at him as an all-format player, then I don't know who they have in mind. Because barring the couple of instances where I think he allowed Sam Constas to get under his skin, and he tried to hit the silly point fielder more than the ball, and especially when Boland was bowling. I think barring those episodes, I think he was, yes, his shot selection today when he went for the pull can be questioned, but let's not be too harsh on that man. There are other people who we should be upset about.
Okay, thank you so much, gentlemen, for your opinions. Thanks everyone for your views and joining us. आज का हमारा शो यहीं पे खत्म होता है. It's been not the best of results for Indian cricket. Like I said at the start of the show, ठीक है, nobody expected victory, but or maybe we were hopeful of victory. But what we also hoped was that we would at least bat out the day. जहाँ पे Nathan Lyon could score so many runs, जहाँ पे Scott Boland. Yeah, Nathan, go ahead.
Can I make just one small comment about Jasprit Bumrah? I'm sorry. I mean, 71 wickets at 15. I mean, this. I mean, he is a Ferrari. Let's not use him as an ambassador, please.
Yeah. अरे उसको बना दिया है. We're using it as a
Yeah.
Swift Desire taxi now. But
Yeah.
let's see what happens. Where Scott Boland batted for so long, Pat Cummins. I mean, Australian lower order batted for so long that the Indian batting couldn't. Disappointing day overall. India is 2-1 down. We'll see what happens in SCG. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and share and like our video if you did like our show. We hope to see you tomorrow again, 6:30 p.m. We'll be taking a look back at how 2024 went for Indian cricket. Thank you, K. Srinivas Rao, Dupayan Datta, Nitin Nayak, Pankaj Athawale for joining us today. Thanks to all the viewers for sending in your comments as well. Do subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Cheers.